Hi guys, welcome to another episode of World of Truck, and this is America Truck Simulator, brand new game. And in this episode, I'd like to share with you my experience when it comes to controller setup. Now, I'm a big fan of controller when it comes to driving game or racing game. I always use a controller. I don't really have the kind of like space or resource to get a wheel. That would be ideal, but a controller is still better than, I think it's better than keyboard in terms of, the player, it's really nice and enjoyable. And with the wireless keyboard, you could actually laze around in your couch and just play this game while using a controller and a wireless keyboard for some key. And I think that is pretty cool. And the one thing about the controller though, the default setup in the game, I don't find it very intuitive or efficient, because when it comes to controller, there's only that many buttons in the whole thing. And I would like to assign all the buttons to the most used kind of button or menu or item. So I don't think the game really optimized that way. So I would like to share with you my setup, and I hope that will be useful to you as well if you are new to the game. And this setup, by the way, is applicable to the Euro Truck Simulator 2 as well, because both games are very nice and similar in the menu item. Alright, so now if you actually go into, say, the controller setup, you could actually look into it, and and you can do an advanced setup. You can do an input wizard. That's what I usually do. Then you can click on controller. I always enjoy menu gearing even when I play racing game, because I like that kind of immersion when you need to shift gear. But unfortunately, controller is not like a replacement for real gearbox. But I think sequential is probably the way to go. So you gear up, gear down by sequentially. Alright, so this is the one that I would recommend. And then by default, they have some button here. I've already changed it. But I haven't changed it here, right now here. But by default, it is button 3 and button 1 for the shift up and down here. It's very uncomfortable. In fact, button 3 and 1 is actually, if you are using Xbox, I've got Xbox here, I've got like the PS3 here. If you use Xbox, it is actually the Y button to shift up and the A button to shift down, and if you are using like PS3, it is the triangle to up and the circle to down. But the problem is that the circle is not really where you rest your thumb, nor the up button, so it becomes very uncomfortable when you press it, and it's always a little bit cramped it's a bit cramped in your thumb. So what I prefer is that I shift it to the square and the cross in the PS3, or the X and the A in the Xbox setup, and that's, to me, is a lot more natural. I play all racing games with it. A lot of recommendations from other racing games also do the same. So let's go ahead to advanced setup. And when it comes to advanced setup, I usually, by the way, I prefer, because I think I play some of this game whereby look up and down is actually reverse. I find it more natural. I think it's like a lever when you try to, when you go up, you actually go down, and go down and go up kind of thing. Yeah, it's how your head works. Sense, I don't know. But I usually invert this one. By default it's center, so it's a little bit unnatural. I always see maybe DC, but you may want to change this one, but you may not. If you're okay with how the look up and down is like, just keep it as default. I change it, and the rest of it I leave it as default. That's fine. And when it comes to up and down, like I mentioned, I need to change it. So click on this one. I would like to have the button 2, which is the square on the PS3 or X on the Xbox, as the shift up, and then shift down is actually the cross, that is the button 0. Now, but by doing that, you mess up other mapping as well, but that's alright, I got you covered, don't worry about it. Go ahead with this one first, and you can let me know whether it is good or not. And this is the place you can also test out what is what. You can randomly press any button on controller. It will tell you whether it's a 6 or 7 or 8 or 9, because it's actually not that intuitive. And just to run through with you what is the number itself, maybe I'll do it later, alright, but when it comes to the next bit, but everything is number assigned, and you can use this guy here to sort of like test which one's what, okay? And then go ahead to finish the wizard. So after you've done that, the next thing we like to do is actually do the key and button, because that's where the whole game is. Now, they have, as you know, this one is already changed to 2 and 0, which is shift up and down, which is, by default it's not. By default it's 3 and 1. So now by doing that, I also change something called shift to neutral. Shift to neutral is very important to me, at least. Is sometimes when I travel in high speed, 12 gear, and after that I would like to just slow down and just stop at the toll station or the traffic light. So I'd like to have the ability to quickly drop from 12 gear to 0 gear, because there's a lot of button to press. If you imagine you have to drop down 12 gears, it's really a lot of button to press here. So shift to neutral to me is very important. So I map it to joy button 9. Joy button 9 is actually the right hand button, the right stick. You press down, you can actually click it, and I use this. I press down the right stick to shift to the neutral. Why on the right stick? Because the right stick is near to my gear button, so intuitively I use that to shift to neutral. Right now, then after that, I think left-right indicator is fine, which is the top two button here. The very top two button is the 4 and 5. I leave it as it is. Now so they have something called the light mode, which I am strongly against mapping this one. I'm going to unmap this one. I'll show you how to do it later. I'm not going to use the joyhead switch left. What is joyhead switch left? Is a D-pad on your controller, or on the side here, on the D-pad here. That is your joyhead switch left, right, up and down. So this one I'm going to unmap. Why? Because you only need to on the light every time you buy a truck. When you're off the engine, the light is off. When you're on the engine, the light is automatically on. So there's really no reason for you to off the light. I mean, even daytime I leave the light on. There's really no reason to do it. And so this one I'm going to unmap it in very soon. And also wiper as well. I think it's a very a waste of resource as well, because how often do you see rain? Although you can change the rain probability, but still I don't mind just pressing the P if I need to do a wiper. Now cruise control by default it is 2, but I'm going to change it to the triangle, which is the 3. Triangle is the Y in Xbox, or triangle in the PS3. It is very just the top button, just press it up and it's cruise control, very nice. Alright, so the rest of it I leave it unchanged, and after that I come down to here. Now here is where I've changed all these things as well, and and also this one I'm going to change it later. I'm going to unmap it later. What is joy button 6? Joy button 6, I think by default is the select button on PS3 or the back button on the Xbox. So it's the two little button in the middle. So one of them is joy button 6. I'm going to unmap it later. And now I map the left, up and right onto this couple of things. Why is it important? It is important because alright, so this one I do a left, alright, this one I do a up, and this one I do a right. And the right is important because F5 or the navigation is where you always go back to the map. So whatever you do in your navigation page, the route advisor is a little like GPS system. You always go back to F5. So F5 is the most pressed button in the entire, and this is what I do. I always go back to the map itself. Now, why is the rest of 2 important is that I always need to refer to the job information to find out how many hours do I have left before going to a rest place to take a rest. Because as a driver you in the game will get fatigued, and it will tell you how many hours before you really fall asleep. So that is important. It also tell you how many time remaining in case you are doing some tour, sightseeing around the town, which I always do. It's good to know how many hours remaining for you to complete the job, and and it's very important to also understand how heavy you are pulling. Like, is it like an 8-ton kind of like a load, or is it like a 25-ton kind of load? Because it changes the way the braking system is braking distance and so on. So always choose. I always map this to the up. So D-pad up is the one that I use it for the job info, and the diagnostic is something that I always look into as well, which is the F7 or the right button or D-pad. Now, why is it important? Because it tells you the damage you have on the car, which is alright. I mean, that's not really something that you need to know, but it also tells you the damage to your goods or the cargo, which is very important if you want to have some like a perfect game, because there's a penalty on XP or dollar if you damage the goods or the cargo. So I use the opportunity to diagnose it. I mean, sometimes I just leave with the mistake I have got, but sometimes I may, some silly mistake, I bang the wall and I'd like to reload the game. Alright, so you could just reloading, it just wastes your time, but it's something that is your game, depending on what you like to do. It's not an online game, so I always check whether I bang onto something or not, just for my learning experience. But after a while, you kind of driving better and better, and then you don't need to really, like, you're still very careful, but you're sort of like avoiding a lot of damage. But in any case, it's good to know whether someone from behind actually bang onto your truck, because sometimes when you cut the lane, you just cut it a little bit too close and there's a car behind. So it is important for me. And all the time when you press F6 and F7, you always have to go back to F5, right? So that is why I map it that way. And after that, I also would like to recommend the interior look forward, which is joy button 8. So what is joy button 8 is the left stick when you press down. And that, why do I map it to left stick? Because left stick I use to steer as well. So when you do steering, sometimes it's important to make sure you're looking at the center when you do it. So that's something that I always do. Right? So so I would recommend this kind of like setup as well. So you press a button, because you can look left and right using the right kind of stick. But whatever you do, you always press a button back. All right. So there's also another option, by the way, to auto turn your head as you turn. So I think it's either one of the gameplay kind of like option. So I'm going to show that to you as well in just a moment. And then after that, you have the activate button. By default is a 0, which is of course you kind of like config with your gear down. So you have to map it to the circle in the PS3 controller, or the B on the Xbox. So it can't activate using the B button or the circle button. I think for those who are playing PS3 games or PS game, activate is always the circle anyway. So yeah, but it's maybe a bit unnatural for the Xbox folks. But believe me, it's a lot easier to shift gear with the X and A instead of Y and B. All right, now trailer you just have to unassign. I mean, basically, you just unassign trailer. I mean, basically you don't use it to pull that anymore. The menu though is escape menu. I prefer to use joy button 7. I map it to joy button 6. All right, so joy button 6 is a too little button on the left and right, so I use that to map the joy button 6. And then I have a quick save as well. Now why is it important? Because sometimes whenever you come to a milestone, because sometimes some of the gameplay could be like 1.5 hour, 2 hours. I don't know about American Truck Simulator because the map is still growing, but in Euro Truck Simulator you may play up to like an hour and a half and so on. So sometimes you like to have you accomplish a lot perfectly, so quick save, and then if you need to, you just load it back again. So that is something that I like to recommend to you. And the and world map is another one that I like to recommend. Is the button 7, which is the start button on your PS3 controller, or the start button in Xbox as well. Both are using the two buttons on the left and right. So I think with that said, that is really all that I would like to recommend to you. And I don't want to overdo the whole thing, but I mean, in fact, everything here become very like I need to unassign something like this. I need to unassign the light mode. Right, so I think I'll just go through that one more time, more for myself as well. Is that I got shift up and down with the two buttons. That's cool. I got the press down on the right stick on the shift to neutral. Right, so I've got left and right indicator. I don't change that. Wiper, I have to unassign that. Don't need that anymore. Cruise control is the triangle or the Y button on the controller. Then after that, my left up and right for F5, F6 and F7. And after that, I have the look forward, very important. Press the right stick. You centralize the whatever turn your head in the game, whatnot. Then activate is your circle, PS3 or B button in Xbox. Menu is the button 6, which is select, or the back in the Xbox. And after that, down is the save game. And there's one more, is the world map, is the start button or the start button as well on the Xbox. So yeah, with that, I mean, that is all really set. I mean, if you follow this setting, you'll be very, very happy. And of course, there's always gameplay as well. I think gameplay has a lot of other things as well, and I mean you can explore what kind of work for you, and even rain probability. I actually like like to sort of drive in the rain a little bit more, right? And to sort of like all these things, and this I think steering steering rotation is kind of nice as well. And that is something I would like to recommend as well, because all this become as you steer, then your camera rotate. I find it very, very useful. Yeah, I mean that is really all. Well, I mean, yeah. So I think in the US you probably have to do a US way. I have to sort of do some mental calculation. What is a pound? What is a what is miles? And Fahrenheit, especially Fahrenheit. I come from a Celsius kind of like environment, and these are really kind of interesting for me. Oh, by the way, you could also, if you are someone who prefer to speed, then you probably want to like show the car limit instead of truck limit, and after that you don't have a truck speed limiter, so you uncheck this one, and you can show the car limit instead. It show you wish to, and that also could work for you. Yeah, I think that is really all, and all this like braking intensity and the stability you could adjust as well. I leave it as it is. It seems alright to me. I don't really have to overdo all these things, and yeah. Alright, so now that is all really. In case you have any questions, so on, feel free to drop me a note here in YouTube. I'm more than happy to answer your questions, and I like this game a lot, and just would like to share my experience because I've playing the Europe version for quite some time, and I really enjoyed playing this game using the controller. So alright, see you next time. Bye.